Right. Good morning. Today's date is February 13th, 2006. My name is Emily Horak, and I am conducting an oral history interview at Sunrise at Reston Town Center in Reston, Virginia with Anthony Akromas. Can you please state your name and address for the record?
Anthony Akromas, Sunrise Assisted Living, for the last 5 years.
All right. And I'll just start off with a few questions just to jog your memory a bit.
Yeah.
And you had said you were enlisted, correct?
We're enlisted
Yep, you enlisted, correct?
in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
I came here in 2000.
Oh, I'm sorry, in the service. You enlisted in the service in
Yes, I enlisted in 1920.
1920, right. And where were you living at that time?
I was living in Larksville, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm. And why did you decide to join?
Well, they said that they would send me to school and I would become a good soldier with their training, because I didn't want to work in the mines.
Mm-hmm.
Like my father. He worked 30 years in the mines and they laid him off. Didn't get a penny pension.
Really?
So I don't want to follow working in the mines.
Mm-hmm, I understand.
I'd rather go someplace where I could, and I decided to join the Army.
Uh-huh.
I didn't like to work in the mines.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Do you remember your first days in service?
I think it was February. February the 20th, I think. I'm not sure what day.
Oh, do you recall the events of the first few days that you were there? And your feelings and your thoughts?
Well, I didn't know my assignment because once I got in there, they put me in the hospital and they kept me there I don't know how many days because I was a little bit underweight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. How long did they keep you in the hospital for?
They kept me there about 10 days
Uh-huh.
before they assigned me to the company.
Mm-hmm.
We're in Arsenal.
So you weren't sick or anything? You were just underweight? You were not sick? You were
No,
just
I
underweight?
wasn't sick.
Okay.
Well, they wouldn't take me if I was sick.
Right. Good point. Good point. So after they released you, you went into what branch did you go into? You started working?
Well, I was a private for those 3 years.
Uh-huh.
But they had, in order to get extra money, they put a system in of class, some kind of extra money you could get.
Right.
They gave me that assignment where I could get I think it was $10 or $15 more a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I finished my enlistment with that.
Okay.
Private and the class 3 or whatever it was. I don't remember those days. That's a good many years ago.
Yeah, it is. Definitely. The wars you said you served in, in World War II and the Korean War?
Yeah, I served there. I was 12 miles north of Pearl Harbor in that place there. I can't think of the place where I was assigned to that 10th Ordnance.
Uh-huh.
I don't have any documents here. My daughter got all my documents during my time because she was born in San Francisco, Letterman General Hospital in Presidio. Mm-hmm. When I was assigned to the Harbor Defenses of San Francisco while I was a warrant officer.
Right.
She was born there March the 5th, 1949.
Oh, okay.
And I was transferred from then on up to the 23rd Infantry Regiment in Fort Lewis, Washington. Mm-hmm. And then when the North Koreans overran the troops at that zone,
right,
we were sent over there to fight the North Koreans, and I went with the 23rd Infantry Regiment. Uh-huh. I was over there for 14 months.
Wow. Would you remember what that was like? Your feelings?
Well, you're out in the open.
Yeah.
You don't even have a tent to live in.
Right. So you were in battle?
Well, I wasn't in the battle. I wasn't in the trenches.
Okay.
I was in the service S4. We did the servicing. We gathered up the food and ammunition and everything that the troops needed.
Right. That was the order.
But I didn't have any fighting to do.
Gotcha.
But I did carry a rifle and a pistol and a revolver for my own protection.
So that was the Ordnance Corps?
That was in the Ordnance Corps,
right,
yeah.
Right. So you were responsible for getting all supplies and stuff for the troops, the supplies and food and everything?
Yeah, we supplied the troops with the food and everything. And then there's another warrant officer that supplied them with their clothing and everything. Mm-hmm. But I was in the S4, and I supplied the food that they needed and everything else. We used to have truck drivers. We sent them in to get the food and bring it out to the troops.
Mm-hmm. I understand. I gotcha. Did you see any combat?
Well, I saw prisoners. We captured Koreans too.
Really? Wow. Must have been, I don't know. Do you have any
But we lived on the ground most of the time. Mm-hmm. In the sleeping bag. Mm-hmm. That's how we lived there, and they covered their ground with with the people's bowel movements and urine and everything else. They made their plants with that, and you could smell that on the land.
Wow.
It wasn't very healthy
Sanitary. Yeah.
to live there
Doesn't
with
sound like
in
it.
that kind of it was unhealthy.
Definitely.
But I was lucky I didn't break down with any diseases.
Disease or anything. Right. Right. Very lucky. Do you have any memorable experiences? Memorable experiences? Anything that sticks out in your mind?
Well, I know the president of South Korea they sent a letter to me when I was home.
Really?
They were thanking me for fighting the North Koreans.
Oh.
My daughter is holding them in her house.
Wow.
I don't keep any documents here.
Uh-huh.
She
That's
keeps
fine.
all the documents.
Really? Okay. That's good. That's good. Let's see. Did you stay in touch with your family when you served? Did you stay in touch with your family?
Oh, yes, but after 14 months, this here, in my assignment in Folklife, it's a French island 90 miles south of Guadalcanal. And when they took over Guadalcanal, then my job wasn't needed because those ships were sent up to Guadalcanal, and I was released to go home. And that's when I got married.
Oh, okay.
In 44. And there's a picture of my wife there. She died a couple of years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wow.
That's my wife there.
She's very pretty. Very pretty. Wow.
She died while she was in here. We were on the third floor. We had 2 bedrooms.
Uh-huh.
She had 1 bedroom and I had the other bedroom.
Oh, wow.
And it got so bad with her pain, we called in hospice. And hospice, the only people that can give dope to the residents. And they furnished the dope to kill her pain until she died. But I stayed with her
Through it all.
for, at least almost 2 months before she died. One night, I left her at 9:30, and one of the medical people came in to give her that dope. They found her dead. So they got in touch with my daughter, and then they arranged the people in Vienna to come get the body. And then they buried her.
It's nice that you got to be with her here. It's nice that you were both here, right next to each other. You got to live together here.
So I couldn't furnish for two bedrooms, so they brought me down here where there's 1 bedroom.
I gotcha. Right.
it's cheaper.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. But I'm just saying it's nice that you got to be with her.
Oh yeah, I
Here.
stayed there until she died.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Getting back to the service, do you feel you had there must have been a lot of pressure or a lot of stress with the job?
Oh yes, we used to get all the help from Honolulu.
Mm-hmm.
All those field workers, those pineapple and sugar fields, they cut them out. They got all the laborers from there. And we used to have civil service people. We'd give them the job of taking them in, and they used to bring over shiploads of ammunition, and they bring it in those small trains in Honolulu, and they bring them up to where we lived,
Mm-hmm.
and they unloaded them with all those people every day, and taking them out, dumping all those things in the sugar fields and the pineapple fields, and drop the bombs there and everything. And then the ships could go back to the States and get more cargo
Right.
for the boys that are over fighting the Japs.
Mm-hmm.
It was a running job day and night.
Sounds like a lot. Wow. Were you in the Ordnance Corps for both wars? For both of the wars, were you in the Ordnance Corps?
Well, the Ordnance Corps didn't do any fighting.
Right. I understand that. Yeah.
We were not in the trenches fighting.
Right.
We were in the rear.
Mm-hmm. Did you do the same assignment for both wars? During both wars?
Well, I made sure that they got enough ammunition,
Right.
and rifles and firearms. But we had a captain that was he ran S4, and I worked with him.
Uh-huh.
He was a West Point graduate, and he was in Korea with me.
Right.
We had members of Koreans too. South Koreans we had 3 or 4 of those Koreans.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Now there we are. The captain is there with the Koreans and all that. That's our whole complement that worked.
Where are you?
Here's the captain,
Uh-huh.
and I'm next to him right there.
Oh, okay.
That's me right there.
Gotcha. Very nice. It must be a nice picture to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to put that back for you?
I'll put it back.
Okay.
I did get this picture from president.
Very nice.
That's my granddaughter.
It's very beautiful. Very beautiful.
She's finished. After she finishes her third year in Penn State, she's going to have one more year.
Right.
Oh,
Oh, wow. It's impressive. Did you, one of the questions is, what did you do when you were on leave from service?
well, you couldn't do much in the war zone.
Right.
You just rested
Yeah.
because and we were pushed back in Korea. They got the Chinese helping the North Koreans, and they pushed us back towards the sea.
Mm-hmm.
And it was lucky that the General MacArthur, he brought his troops in the center of the state and cut off the supply line of the North Koreans to save us from being pushed into the sea or they're captured. We could have all been captured
Right.
if he didn't do that for us.
Mm-hmm.
He saved our lives.
Oh.
Then we went all the way up to the Yalu River, and he wanted to destroy their power lines up there.
Mm-hmm.
And President, what's his name, that took over, the little man from Roosevelt. He was the president and he withdrawn General MacArthur away from there, and he told him not to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we could have ended the war in Korea that quick.
Wow.
But the president didn't give him the authority to do the damaging
Mm-hmm.
of the power plants up north.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Do you recall any of your officers or your fellow soldiers? Do you remember your officers, anyone specifically, or your fellow soldiers that you worked with? Anyone that you served with, the officers? Do you remember them?
I don't remember their names.
Oh no, just anyone stick out? Did you keep in contact with anyone afterwards?
The only one I kept contact, that captain, he was a colonel in Pentagon.
Oh really?
When he came out of Korea, he was a captain then. And he's living in California.
Mm-hmm.
I keep in touch with him by phone.
Still? Really? That's great.
Because he has a family too. He had 2 boys and a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And they were little when we all were over in Korea.
Oh wow. That's great. And you still talk to him?
Oh yeah, I visited him.
Really?
My son-in-law, he's with Washington, D.C. They run Reagan Airport and Dulles Airport. And he goes out. He had a mission to go out to San Diego, so I went with him. But he called the doctor if I would be okay to fly out there with him. And my doctor said, yes, you can go, but you have to keep moving your system.
Right.
Walk up and down the plane.
Right.
And I spent a week with my son-in-law.
Oh, great. Okay.
He works with them.
Yeah. That's very nice. You must have enjoyed that. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, I got a good son-in-law.
It's great. After the service ended, do you remember that last day that you had?
The last day,
Do you remember where you were?
well, we were in France. That was my last assignment. I had to go back to the United States to process the retirement, and we flew back with my wife and my Mary Ann. She was just a little girl, about 5 years old. So we had I was assigned to that place in Brooklyn. I can't think of the name. I think that's where these priests and different faiths chaplains were in that there part of Brooklyn. And that's where I was. They were processing me for my last retirement from the Army.
Okay. Wow.
And then I went into civil service after that.
Really? Okay.
In 55.
What did you do for them? For that?
Because I went to school where they had these nuclear bombs. And
Really?
I was out to Desert Rock or somewhere out there, and they put the bomb on a scaffold, and they drop it to test it. Ground zero, they had things put up to see how much damage that bomb did.
Where was that?
That was out in Nevada.
Okay. Wow.
And we were in a trench about, I guess, 1,400 yards from ground zero.
Uh-huh.
And we laid in that trench. We waited until that bomb and that force went over the trenches.
Wow.
And we walked up to ground zero where the ground was burning up.
Wow.
All different colors.
Uh-huh.
And see if it did, how much damage it did to the things that they built around ground zero.
Wow.
That's how they tested the bombs. They were much better bombs than the bombs they put on Nagasaki and the other Japanese.
Hiroshima. Right. Wow. What did
They
you...
were all cleaner bombs.
Uh-huh. Right.
They wouldn't do the damage like the old bombs, nuclear bombs that they dropped.
And you said you went to school there?
Yeah.
What did you study?
Well, we watched the movies that they put on before we went out to check the bombs.
Oh, okay. Was your education paid for by the GI Bill?
Well, I got my retirement, not under the GI Bill.
No. Did you ever, after the service, did you ever join a veterans organization?
Well, I belong to two of them,
Really?
and they're in Alexandria.
Uh-huh.
That's the officers. It used to be the retired officers organization. I had a lifetime subscription with them.
Membership?
Membership, I mean.
Right.
And both of them are in Alexandria. The other is the National Association of Retired Federal Employees.
Oh, okay.
They're in Alexandria.
Right.
But they never sent anybody out from there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still a member back in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I belong to a chapter up there. I'm still a chapter member up there.
Oh, really?
I never transferred my membership from there down here
Right.
because it's too far to get into the chapters down here.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's too bad.
but I got lifetime membership in both of these organizations that's in Alexandria.
Wow. And the first one is the retired officers.
And retired, but they changed the name to Hoppers. They changed the name from retired officer to Officers Association of America, I think.
Okay.
They changed their name.
Right.
The other was not changed. They still call it the National Association of Retired Federal Employees,
Okay.
which I was
understand.
one.
Right.
Those two organizations are, I never even visited them.
I gotcha. What did you do for civil service after your war experience?
We had we did the maintenance work there. And we would get word from the post there where I was working in New Jersey. And I had an assignment of one of the bomb that I could write about. So maybe if I got the assignment to get, they get shortages out in the field.
Right.
And then the notices would come in to us, and I would get mine, and they were all secret.
Right.
And if it didn't pertain to me, then I had to go send it to maybe down in New Mexico there, someplace where they had all necessary people for it, or another. Maybe it belonged to another army this year. Another service. That was up to me to if it wasn't in my territory, then I would have to find out where to send it.
Right.
But there's a lot of paperwork going on up there where I worked.
And
I put in 19 years up there, and I retired there.
where was that?
In Jersey, I can't think of it.
Oh, okay. That's
It
fine.
was all in Jersey.
Yep. I gotcha. How would you say your service experience affected the rest of your life?
Well, the only thing that I broke down out in 90 miles south of Guadalcanal, I contracted dengue fever. That's the worst I've got. Dengue fever.
Really?
And I couldn't work.
Uh-huh.
We slept in tents there. We were lucky we had a tent
Wow.
to sleep in and on a cot.
When was that?
That was in 44.
Okay.
We were unloading those ship's cargo there.
Right. Right. Oh.
We had worked 8 hours on and 16 off. 24 hours a day.
Mhm.
On cargo.
How long did it take you to recover? How long did it take you to recover after that?
It I broke out with rashes under my armpits, in my groin, from that.
Right.
I forget how many units of penicillin they gave me
Wow.
to kill that
Yeah.
rash that I broke out with.
Mhm. How long was it before you were all well again?
I was still working at it, but I got to clean my armpits and my groin every day.
Mhm. Man. Do you look back, like, how has it affected the rest of your life after the service?
Well, after that service, I
Well, after the 27 years
then I
effect.
went down to a retirement village in New Jersey, and I bought a house there in the retirement village, and I was there for 30 years.
Wow.
And I kept my house 2 years too long because my wife died. I had to sell that house up there
Yeah.
and come in here.
Okay. Right.
So I was here. Yeah, after putting 30 years up there in that retirement village, they had about 2,200 homes up there,
Oh,
and
really?
they were built on concrete bases because if you dug down about four feet, you would strike water.
Oh, wow.
So, and there was no stairs. Everybody had walkers and chairs, and even had a blind man in there living. But they are doing much better now. That they got homes up there that's $140,000 in that retirement village.
Right. Wow. That's a lot. I think that's about it for the interview. Is there anything else that you want to add before we wrap things up?
Well, this was the final place to come to.
Oh, right. No, that's fine. We're just about done with the interview now. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Is there anything else you wanted to add that we didn't cover already?
If I could think of the name where I was assigned to, it's adjacent to Wheeler Field. Yeah, I know that. Because that's where the infantry was. And the Ordnance depot was there. I worked in the depot. That was my job, in the depot. When I was appointed warrant officer, the Army Ordnance Depot.
Gotcha.
But it was called something else there. It was 12 miles north of Pearl Harbor. Because when they were bombed at Pearl Harbor, I could hear the bombs crack and the black smoke coming up from where I was staying
Right.
in the Ordnance company. I had a room there.
Mm-hmm.
I witnessed that.
So where were you living at that time?
Yeah, I was there as a warrant officer
Oh, okay. Oh,
up there.
amazing. Mhm. Is there anything else? Is there anything else you want to add for the interview?
I don't know of any.
Okay.
No, fine. But that was
Are you all set then? Is that okay?
I can't think of anything else that I want.
That's fine. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.